Positive behaviour management in early years. A great day at nursery for me was always when children engaged well with the activities, they listened well, and there was no major issues. But is this actually possible on a regular basis? And how can we achieve this perfect day more often? Well, it all starts with how we manage children's behaviour. Positive behaviour management in nursery is about teaching children what behaviour is appropriate and what behaviour is unacceptable. Before children can progress, they need a nursery environment that facilitates the right opportunities for behavioural learning and development. This is key in preparing children to enter more formal education settings after leaving nursery, as it helps to set realistic expectations for how children should behave between the ages of 0 to 5. All behaviour is based on communication, and it takes time for children to learn how to communicate with you and other children about how they are feeling and why they have acted in a certain way. In this video, you'll learn the importance of positive behaviour management and will get strategies that you can use to provide the best environment possible for your young learners. But before we get into that, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel, Open Nursery with myself, Curtly Anya, where I support you to open, run and grow your own childcare business. Here on this channel, I support you with all things early years, from videos teaching you all about the EYFS, covering things like the 7 areas of learning and the characteristics of effective learning, to videos helping you to open nursery, like the different setup costs involved with doing so. No matter what your goals are, as long as it involves childcare and nurseries, you can get support here on this channel. So make sure you subscribe so that you can get the best advice and support to help you to achieve your goals. Here in today's video, as you should be aware, we are going over behaviour management in early years and how you can better manage children's behaviour whilst at nursery. Positive behaviour management in early years is a strategy that emphasises the positive. Focusing on the positive will help you to get the best out of your children. It will also help to empower you as a nursery worker and will help in creating a cohesive and happy learning environment. Reducing challenging behaviour has a massive impact on children's learning and development. So what does positive behaviour management in early years actually look like? Typically, when people hear behaviour management, it has negative connotations. When you think of behaviour management, you may immediately think of some negative behaviour management techniques like the implementation of the naughty step, children being shouted at, or being made to face a wall. And this may have been how behaviour management was managed in the past, but things have hopefully changed. Now, we fortunately have a much better understanding of why challenging behaviour happens, and many of us are now better equipped to manage it. Teaching children how to manage and regulate their feelings can have a lasting impact on behaviour and cognition, which has a greater impact compared to simply dishing out punishments to children. Supporting behaviour management all stems around the earliest curriculum and supporting children with their personal, social and emotional development, as well as their communication and language development. Promoting positive behaviour in an earlier setting involves using strategies that focus on prevention, support and skill development. One of the key things that we should be doing is providing children with the right support to develop their communication skills. Supporting children's communication will help to prevent challenging situations in the future, as children will be better equipped to communicate how they're feeling and will learn how to respond to situations appropriately. Providing a caring, calm and safe environment is central to positive behaviour management, as this ensures that children are treated with respect. We also need to be clear with children about what constitutes negative behaviour and what is positive behaviour. This needs to be consistent amongst all staff as well as parents. Therefore, it's important that children are provided with consistent examples of positive behaviour, as this allows them to understand what is deemed acceptable behaviour. Positive behaviour management is so important. It helps the children in your class to have a high level of involvement. It improves the well-being of the children in your care. It helps the children to have positive outcomes, and it also helps you to get better job satisfaction. The EYFS, the early foundation stage, outlines that positive behaviour consists of 3 things: emotional intelligence, social skills, and cognitive skills. This means that we should be encouraging children to manage their own feelings, form respectful relationships, and have self-confidence and self-awareness before moving on to other areas of learning. Therefore, it is important that nursery settings facilitate this by including strategies that encourage positive behaviour. So what does positive behaviour management look like in an early year setting? Positive behaviour management in an earlier setting involves recognising that different strategies will work for different children. All children are different, and all children will have different experiences prior to attending your nursery. As for example, some children may be used to socialising, whereas others might be used to playing on their own. Therefore, it's important for you to learn about your children as quickly as possible. This helps you to understand their behaviour and what they might be telling you through this. Once you've done this, you'll find that what works for one child might not work for another, but you'll be better equipped to manage the behaviour of your children on an individual level. It's important to recognise and remember that children are learning as they go, and may therefore need guidance on understanding the difference between positive and negative behaviour. As such, positive behaviour management can be encouraged for all children. However, it may be that some strategies may be more effective with some children in your class and others might not be. Therefore, it's important for you to discover what strategies do work for each child to avoid neglecting their needs. You should also make sure that you're setting realistic expectations. For example, if a child demonstrates violent behaviour, such as hitting or biting, using a raised voice towards that child is unlikely to be the best way to calm that child down and manage that behaviour, and will make it more difficult to steer that child away and promote positive behaviour. In this scenario, you could calmly direct that child away from the situation with them having quiet reflection time, where you gently tell them why that behaviour is not acceptable. This would allow the opportunity for the child to calm down, and then you can let them know what the next steps might be to show positive behaviour. For example, checking in on the hurt child. So how can we better manage children's behaviour? In nurseries and other earlier settings, there are many strategies that you can put in place to help manage children's behaviour and encourage positive behaviour instead. Some of these we may have touched on earlier, but for those of you that take notes, I will go through different strategies now so you can then bring it back to your setting. These include knowing your children. This includes knowing their triggers, but also their interests, so that you can make whatever strategies you put in place for that child specific to them. Asking for the behaviour that you want. Make it clear. It's important to make sure that every child knows what you expect from them, highlighting and emphasising on the positive behaviour that you want from them rather than the negative behaviour you don't want. So for example, asking children that you want them to walk inside rather than telling them not to run, or to use kind hands rather than saying no hitting. Being a role model. Children learn more through observing than being told. If we want positive behaviour to occur, we have to show that behaviour too. If we are constantly shouting whilst in the room, children will pick up on this and will copy that behaviour too. So when we are playing or teaching, we should be modelling positive behaviour and using our calm voices so that children will copy our positive behaviour. Rewarding good behaviour. When a child does well, encourage and reward them. This will make it more likely that they will repeat this positive behaviour. You can do this verbally or through something like a sticker chart. Just make sure that you are clear with the child about what behaviour they showed that warranted that reward. Making clear and age-appropriate consequences for behaviour. With this, with whatever behaviour management techniques you use, make sure that it doesn't shame or humiliate the child. By talking about feelings. A lot of challenging behaviour occurs because children are not able to manage their emotions or feelings or communicate this. If we talk more about how we're feeling, so for example in circle times by reading books about it, like reading the book that I've written, EV Super Emotions. Do check it out if you haven't already got your copy. I'll post a link in the description. So by talking about their feelings, children will be more capable of expressing how they're feeling before they show the negative behaviour. Creating an environment for good behaviour. Creating a safe space for children to learn good behaviour is an important step in encouraging good behaviour in early years learning. The environment that you create should allow children to make mistakes along the way and learn from the mistakes. For example, if a child refuses to share a toy, it's important to acknowledge and recognise how they are feeling by using phrases such as, I understand it's hard for you to stop playing with that toy, but maybe it's time for someone else to play as they've been waiting, and try to allow the child to see it from the other child's perspective. Think about how they might feel waiting to play with a toy. This allows you to acknowledge a child's negative behaviour in a positive way as the child's feelings are recognised, but at the same time it's demonstrated to the child that taking turns is positive behaviour. Considering any special educational needs or disabilities. It is possible that challenging behaviour is due to SEND. And if this is suspected, it is important that you have strategies in place to specifically support these children. I've done a video on how we can support SEND children, so if you do think the behaviour could be SEND related, do check out that video for more advice around this. reviewing strategies that you have in place. It is key for you to set time aside to think about and assess how well your positive behaviour management strategies are working. In order to be effective, our strategies that we have in place should develop and grow over time based on the needs of the children in our care. These strategies will ultimately help the learning and development of the children in your care, as it will enable them to demonstrate and show the expected and appropriate behaviours for their age group. So, in order to manage the specific behaviour of an individual child and to understand why a child may be acting a certain way, there are various approaches we can use. Typically, this used to be done by using the ABC approach, analysing the antecedent, behaviour and consequence. However, a newer and better approach has been developed by the National Autistic Society called the STAR approach. This is a new approach which is now being used by many different early year settings to manage behaviour, essentially replacing the old ABC method, as it is seen to be more effective at understanding behaviour. If you want to learn more about the STAR approach and the STAR method to manage behaviour, then check out the video that's on the screen now. But before you go over there, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos supporting you to open, run and grow your own childcare business. So I'll see you over there. God bless.